finding a beta testing site is utterly difficult. First of all, you need to get into it. You need to tap onto your current network to see, hey, do you have an interested collaborator? And then second of all, if they're interested, the next step is, okay, are they suitable? Are they someone that you can work with? Do you guys have a chemistry? And then third of all is, okay, yes, they have chemistry. Then the next one is, well, how do we put out the resources? Resources doesn't mean just the people itself. It is also mean the monetary section. How do we sponsor each other onto this kind of project? So it's difficult, but you need to really evaluate, come up with a list is the easiest one. List out the collaborator that you intend to. You just have to try to meet every one of them and evaluate what is the end goal that you're trying to meet. I would not say this is easy, but it's definitely doable if you go step-by-step basis.
Welcome back to part 2 of our conversation with Chervee Ho from BioChromatographix International. In part 1, we explored her journey and the fundamentals of commercial thinking and how to develop a technology that customers actually want. Now we're tackling the big challenges, competing against industry giants, convincing risk-averse manufacturers to try new technology, and building teams that master both cutting-edge science and market dynamics. Plus, Chervee shares her top start here tips for successful commercialization. Are you ready to level up your commercial game? Well, let's dive right in. Are you juggling the complexities of CMC development while trying to enjoy the beauty of biotech? Have you ever wondered if there's a way to simplify bioprocessing? Welcome to the Smart Biotech Scientist Podcast, where we're diving headfirst into the very challenges you face. We're breaking it down, demystifying the jargon, and giving you the keys to unlock your full potential. I'm your host, David Brühlmann, and I get it. With 15 plus years in the biotech industry, I face the same challenges you do. There's a way to simplify and streamline so you can remove complexity, you can skip trials and errors, deliver without delay your groundbreaking therapy to clinics and market, and still enjoy every single step. Do you want to learn how industry experts and I did it? Grab a cup of coffee and your favorite notebook and pen. Now is the time to take your bioprocessing game to the next level. Let's smarten up biotech. Now, I'm curious, Chervee, you are a startup and you come now with this novel technology, this access flow technology. You're competing against the big guys. I'm not going to name names, but we all know the big chromatography resin suppliers. How do you navigate in that pond where we have a lot of big fish and you're the small one? How does that work? What is your strategy?
Oh, I like that one. So basically, Access Flow, our product portfolio, what we are focusing is on a very niche market, right? Of course, having a big fan and playing with a big fish is not an easy game. But again, this is my own principle. We have to do the best what we do. We have to focus on developing the best product. And this is what we have to focus. Of course, we have to be aware of what is the competitive landscape. We also need to make sure that our product always has the superiority advantage on technology that to navigate through the current market pain point. How do we purify a large molecule? How do we get the best recovery rate, right? That's always the boundary processing questions. What we also do is we leverage our scientific partnership. That's very important. You need to leverage that partnership to understand you need to partner with different people, and also having a beta testing site with a respected industry player to build credibility throughout the third-party validation. And this is important because when you choose the right partner to test the column and they generate the results, that's a proven way how we deliver the data. And also this involves also a transparent communication between how unique our technology is that benefit the community with a robust data. And that eventually help to gain trust in the market. And I mean, I would not go out and say, hey, this is a new technology, but we need to really prove with data, with scientific proven data, how unique the technology is. And this is also how we not justify, but more or less convince the community that this technology really works to help you to have a better you, better recovery, and better resolution.
And how do you specifically communicate that benefit or your value proposition? And also, how do you finally come up with a value? I mean, you're competing against other technologies. I guess at the end of the day, you want to earn some money with that, of course. So how do you go about that to finally dial in the price? Is that an ongoing discussion with people you're working with, or how do you do that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think actually of course, our lab runs a lot of experiment and to characterize, to understand and stuff like that. And all this are value-based, right? So value-based means when we know that the technology that we built itself has more superior than the current technology itself, that we push the limit. And that's what we are actually building on to, because eventually everyone is trying to contribute to bioprocess industry. Is what is the value that we are trying to deliver to the community, that to really bring everybody up to speed. Hey, this is the latest technology. And of course, through beta testing site, through the peer review journal that we publish, all these are the data that we are showing to the community. This is the value that we are trying to bring. It's a proven data, because this is how it works in this industry, right? It's a regulated market. Data is everything.
I agree. Data is everything, and you need beta users. And a request I often receive is, hey, David, can you help me find these beta testers? What I've noticed is that many startups or university labs don't have these connections. So I'm wondering, how do you go about to find your beta users? How do you get your foot into the door?
I think this is an article that I was trying to, in the next article that I'm going to write also. So it's a good question. Of course, it's through network. It's very important. So this is something that you don't get out of the textbook as well. So I know that, we are textbook reader. That's why commercial people always talk to different people in conferences, getting to know people, expand your network. That's very important. That's how you meet your collaborator. And of course, choosing the right collaborator or beta testing site, it's utterly important, because you need to make sure that they understand how this process works. What do you want to get out of this collaboration? And also, what is the end goal in mind? Again, it's the same principle again that we apply. You need to have end goal in mind, then you work backwards. That's maybe the way how I work in every situation. So getting to know collaborator is through network, first of all. Second of all, you have to evaluate that what do you want to get out of this, so that you don't waste time. You don't waste their time. You don't waste your own time. So that's how you really get to know who and choose the right collaborator to work with to expand the whole horizon.
And what have you found, Chervee? What are the best collaboration models? Is that just a scientific collaboration or licensing or equity or whatever system? What do you think is a good way, especially for startups? Or it really much depends on your company philosophy?
Yeah, I think it's the third one. It really depends on what you would like to achieve at the end of the day, and at which stage is your startup at right now. So I can speak at this time. Definitely, we are looking for a collaborator to really evaluate our column, to generate more data, to really show the superiority of our product over the current system that they have. And also, I always wanted to ask, have we reached the limit? Can our technology push the boundary, push the innovation to become even better? So that would be something that I would think. Maybe at a later stage, we might meet another collaboration onto equity, like you said. It depends how big your company would like to expand. It's always down to what is the strategy? What is your commercial strategy? How big you would like to scale your company?
Yeah, I recently had a conversation with one of my clients, and we talked about ways to collaborate, and they have a great technology, but the CEO told me, well, we would need funding to put an FTE on this project because we cannot just do a research project. And even if we do it, we need some money to earn. So it can be quite a challenge actually to either get the money or the right collaboration agreement. For instance, with a bigger company, maybe they agree to pay something up front. And then if it's successful, maybe the startup is going to sell the license and so on. But there seems to be a challenge to get these research projects or beta testing projects sometimes off the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like I said early on, maybe just an add on to what I mentioned earlier. So finding a beta testing site is utterly difficult. First of all, you need to get into it. You need to tap onto your current network to see, hey, do you have an interested collaborator? And then second of all, if they're interested, the next step is, okay, are they suitable? Are they someone that you can work with? Do you guys have a chemistry? And then third of all is, okay, yes, they have chemistry. Then the next one is, well, how do we put out the resources? Resources doesn't mean just the people itself. It is also mean the monetary section. How do we sponsor each other onto this kind of project? So it's difficult, but you need to really evaluate, come up with a list is the easiest one, list out the collaborator that you intend to. You just have to try to meet every one of them and evaluate what is the end goal that you're trying to meet. I would not say this is easy, but it's definitely doable if you go step by step basis.
I would like to talk about your company culture a bit and your experience as a CEO because, well, you're a startup, you have a few people now, but eventually you're going to expand, you're going to hire new people. And I mean, it's all about the people to make it successful. I mean, it's great to have a technology, but you need the right people finally. So how do you go about building a diverse set of skills, different people, commercial, scientific, and so on, regulatory? What is your strategy there?
So diversity is definitely a key question here. But I mean, in our team, we do have a very balanced gender diversity, right? So I think this is really a very specific question. But for me, I do think that we don't really focus on gender, but we really focus on the mindset. Because we are a startup company. Mindset is utterly very important. Of course, resume is important, but to me, basically, I think the mindset of getting convicted, right, for a startup company is utterly important. And also, you must have the muscles to run the show because startup company, you have to wear a different hats and you have to really do a different thing at a time. So mindset is very important, at least for our company, because to run a startup is just not tomorrow's day. It's a marathon to me to run the show. So the mindset has to be agile, has to be adaptable, has to have a step-by-step structured solution to navigate through the challenges. Some of them can come to you and say, hey, I do not know how to do this. So I think this is definitely not the right fit, but tell me what you can do to navigate the challenges. I think this is the mindset that we are actually looking at for a startup company.
And where do you find these outliers with this specific mindset? I imagine.
It's very difficult, David. It's not easy. So, I mean, I think I would specifically look at people that have worked in a startup environment before because they, sometimes you got burned and then you leave and then you join an MNC company again. And then, you still have that. Once you get into the adrenaline running show, you still want to taste back. So I think particularly you can find people that has the experience working for a startup company that they still would like to build. So this is me. I like to build, right? So those mindset is something that I would fish out from a big talent pool, like in Singapore, basically, because Singapore is definitely a very good startup ground for everybody because we have the infrastructure and the support from the government itself. So yeah, towards your question, I think I would particularly look at people that has worked in this startup environment before. And then the second step is, are they the good fit? And eventually, if this has a chemistry, then I think, of course, background is important because what we do is very niche.
Yeah, this has been great, Chervee. Before we wrap up, what burning question haven't I asked that you're eager to share with our biotech community?
No, I think you cover most of them because I would really want to convey that commercialization with the start in mind is really important. And knowing the pain point is a starting point for everything.
So what is the most important takeaway from our conversation?
Start with the end in mind, right? And always do not underestimate the importance of a user experience. Besides building a great technology, don't underestimate the importance of a user experience from the technology is developed all the way to packaging and documentation. I think this is as an adoption that always hinges on all these details.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Chervee, for sharing your commercial experience and for sharing how we as scientists can successfully commercialize an innovative technology. It's very important. Thank you for this unique perspective. Where can people connect with you, Chervee?
Yeah, definitely. I think the fastest way is LinkedIn. You can reach me out from LinkedIn. Of course, I will also participate in different conferences. Then if I can meet everyone in the conference, that would be great, because meeting in person is also another way how we communicate and understand each other and to expand the network.
Excellent. I will leave the link in the show notes. And once again, Chervee, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you, David, for inviting me as part of the show.
These are invaluable insights from Chervee Ho on building commercial-ready biotech companies. Her advice on commercialization strategy, team building, and customer adoption will transform how you approach technology development. Remember, science may give you headaches, but bringing breakthrough technologies to market should not. Do you need help with your technology development challenges? Grab a free consultation at BrühlmannConsulting.com, and I'd love to meet you there. And please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on your favorite podcast platform. It helps fellow scientists discover these game-changing conversations. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I'll see you next time. All right, smart scientists. That's all for today on the Smart Biotech Scientist Podcast. Thank you for tuning in and joining us on your journey to bioprocess mastery. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast platform. By doing so, we can empower more scientists like you. For additional bioprocessing tips, visit us at smartbiotechscientist.com. Stay tuned for more inspiring biotech insights in our next episode. Until then, let's continue to smarten up biotech.